back in August, I made an NFL quarterback tier list, show where I thought the quarterbacks were and who I thought was going to be great and who I thought was not going to be so great going into the season. And as we head into week 18, I'm going to do that tier list again, look back at the one that I made and see how well I did. Do I know ball? Do I not know ball? Who knows? Let's find out right now. This is the 2024 preseason tier list that I had. Largely, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. So let's take a look at what we got here. So A tier Mahomes, or S tier Mahomes. We got A tier, we got Burrow, Jackson, Allen, Stroud, Love, Prescott. I'm not going to read off the rest since we are going to start doing a new tier list. We will go back and forth between this one and the new one, because instead of doing S, A, B, C, and D tier, we're gonna have some fun tiers this time. So that being said, going over to the new tier list, we have MVP tier, good, mid, bad, and of course the infamous ass tier. And yes, there will be a few quarterbacks in ass tier. Sorry about ya. Starting off, we are going to go back and look at Justin Herbert. Now, Justin Herbert, I'm going to put in good. I don't think he's not quite MVP, but Justin Herbert's had a good year. He's had a really solid year. Chargers have had a great year with Justin Herbert, sitting at 10-6 in the playoffs. Justin Herbert, 3,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Nothing great, nothing terrible, but he's been a solid quarterback overall. 2 rushing touchdowns as well. On top of that, so 23 total touchdowns. Good season for Justin Herbert. 10-6 for the Chargers is awesome. Back in the playoffs. I will enjoy seeing where they end up moving forward, how well they do in the playoffs, and looks like they've got a good wide receiver 1 in Ladd McConkey coming up. Probably get some good stuff in the draft. Got to move on from Quentin Johnson. He's still getting way too many targets. But yeah, Justin Herbert, good quarterback. Excited to see what he does in the future. Don't necessarily know if he's a top 10 quarterback. Maybe. I guess we'll see where the tier list leads to where he ends up. Next up, Jordan Love. Jordan Love is a bit of a wild card this year. Been up and down. I'd say he is hitting a bit of a slump this year. Since it's his second year as a starter for the Packers, I can call this his sophomore slump. He kind of hit it this year. I'm still going to put him in good. I'm going to put him behind, actually, Jordan Love. I'm going to put him into our new sophomore slump tier, because he will not be the only one in this category, that's for sure. But I definitely will call this not the best year for Jordan Love. Still good. They're still going to make the playoffs. Don't necessarily think they're going to necessarily make it far in the playoffs. They may not even win their first game. Depends on who they play. But Jordan Love got his team to the playoffs. Still a solid year. And he definitely has the stuff where he'll be good for many years to come. I'm excited about him. Next up, we have Drake May for the Patriots. I'm going to put Drake May in a new tier as well. I'm going to put him in the can see the potential tier. I don't think he's quite good enough to be mid, but he's also not bad. He's not bad either. He has shown flashes of being good. I think he's shown more flashes of being good than being bad. That's why I'm kind of putting him in the can see the potential tier. I think Drake May, if the Patriots stick with him, he could be really good, but that depends on, are they going to stick with him, or since they got the number 1 pick coming in, or potentially the number 1 pick, do they look at taking somebody like maybe Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward if they like them better when scouting for the draft? Or do they stick with Drake May, trade the number 1 pick, or get somebody else in the draft? Who knows? But I can see the potential for Drake May. I think he looks pretty good. This will be a fun one. I'm excited to see Drake May in the future. As much as I don't like the Patriots, I'm excited about Drake May. I think he can be solid. And if the Patriots obviously don't keep him and go with Shedeur or Cam Ward, somebody that needs a quarterback will pick up Drake May, as he's a really, really good option for them. Next up, we have Bo Nix, rookie quarterback from the Denver Broncos. He's going to go in our trending in the right direction tier, and let me tell you why. Because Bo Nix is definitely better than Drake May. I'd say Bo Nix has probably played like the second or third best rookie quarterback this year, and his team's going to go to the playoffs. He's got great coaching, great weapons around him. I don't think he's all the way up and good yet. He's obviously not going to fit in sophomore slump, and Jordan Love is better than Bo Nix. I don't think Bo Nix is mid. He's had some flashes where he hasn't been great, but he's also had some flashes where he's been really, really good. And I think he's been really solid, and I think overperformed a lot of the expectations that were set on him this year. But yeah, Bo Nix trending in the right direction. We'll see if he kind of hits that sophomore slump next year, where he kind of ends up. But I'm excited for Bo Nix. He could be really, really good for many years to come for the Denver Broncos. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. We're going to kind of lump in Mason Rudolph and Will Levis together, just because the Titans don't have anything. Titans just don't have anything. Will Levis and Mason Rudolph have basically had the exact same year. They are both going to go, sadly, in the ass tier. I mean, Will Levis, you could maybe go bad for him, but I mean, there's some quarterbacks that are going to be in bad that are definitely not ass, that's for sure. Sorry, guys. You just got to be down here. That's just how it shakes out for you. I'm going to skip over Aiden O'Connell for just a second because I want to lump in the Raiders quarterbacks together. I'm going to go over to Brock Purdy. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to say. This was where I put Brock Purdy. I put in B tier last year, kind of middle of the road. I'm right in this kind of tier with Goff, Stafford, Herbert, Tua, Caleb Williams, all these guys. I'm gonna put Brock Purdy. And then I'm rating on this season, by the way, on this list, how quarterbacks have played this year alone, and that's why I'm gonna put Brock Purdy in mid. I mean, I could even go Brock Purdy a little bit lower than that, but I'm going to put Brock Purdy right square in the mid tier. And a lot of people are going to complain about that because, like, oh, look, Brock Purdy's got a better passer rating than, Stafford and Mahomes. It's like, okay, but he hasn't necessarily played like it all the time. Now, because Brock Purdy, look at his stats. He's got, I think, 3,400 yards, 3,487 yards, 17 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and he's had 2 or 3 game-losing interceptions, and his team is 6-9. For all the hype that Brock Purdy has, or what everybody wants to say about how great Brock Purdy is, he underperformed the expectations set for him this year. And, people are talking about his big contract coming up. I don't think he deserves a $50 million contract, $50 million a year contract. That just seems unrealistic. I don't agree with that. Brock Purdy's been mid. I said he wasn't a top 10 quarterback in the league, and I stand by that. He's in the mid tier this year, and I don't know. We'll see where he goes. There's a lot of teams with quarterbacks, down here that would love to have Brock Purdy, but I don't know how good he is necessarily. He's made it to a Super Bowl. I'll give him that. He's had a couple great years. This year was not trending in the right direction. That's why I'm putting him in mid, and we'll see what he does next year. Could be a good year. You never know. I'm a Brock Purdy hater a little bit. I will fully admit that. But objectively, he's had a mid-year. If I wasn't being objective, I put Brock Purdy down here. I think he's been not a great quarterback this year. But he's been mid, and I think, obviously, he can do better. Once the team gets healthy, gets CMC back next year, that team could be really, really good. The only wild card is if Trent Williams retires. That'll really bring down the skill level of their O-line. So that could cause him to struggle because he doesn't seem like he's great under pressure. But Brock Purdy, mid, I'm happy with that. As you guys can see, we added a new tier to the bottom of the list, and this is going to be for our friends, the Raiders quarterbacks. Because the Raiders are in desperate need of a franchise quarterback. And it's not Aiden O'Connell, as much as I enjoyed watching him at Purdue, and it's not Minshew Mania. They are not starting quarterbacks. These are both serviceable backups, but neither of them are a franchise quarterback, and it has shown this year they are not very good. The fact that I have Levis and Rudolph above them, yes, but these, you can interchange these guys. It really doesn't matter where they go. We've got ass in the Raiders. There's going to be quarterbacks and ass quarterbacks in the Raiders, so that's just kind of where this ended up. This is probably going to be, this is when my embarrassing ones, but next up, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. Now, I put him in C tier at the start of the year, because let's be real, going into the year, and I still think there's a lot of people, on social media and in sports media that still look at this like, oh, it's Sam Darnold. Come on, guys. Sam Darnold, I'm sorry, but Sam Darnold has an MVP case this year. He really does. If you look at Sam Darnold, he's going to pass 4,200 passing yards this year. He's got 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. That's just passing. He's got a rushing touchdown too. 36 total touchdowns, 12 interceptions. It's a great season. Sam Darnold has more than exceeded expectations. And for that, I'm going to put Sam Darnold in good. I'm not quite putting him in MVP tier, but depending on, where everybody else shakes out, there's a chance that Sam Darnold could be the top of good. I don't necessarily think he's quite up to that MVP, like I said, but Sam Darnold, good, if not great. There's probably a great tier in the middle here, and that would be where Sam Darnold goes. But for now, we're going to stick with good. Sam Darnold, congratulations, Vikings fans. The only thing I worry about for you guys is what are you going to do with JJ over here that you drafted? But I think you're stupid if you don't bring back Sam Darnold, especially after this year. Shout out to Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, and the Vikings coaching staff. Sam Darnold has turned into a great quarterback. I would love to have him on my team, especially living here in Indiana as a Colts fan. We'll get to that later. I'd love to have Sam Darnold, but that's an argument for another day. Next up, we have a couple more people joining the AST here. And that will be Tommy DeVito, and I am going to put Daniel Jones in there. Daniel Jones obviously didn't play half the year. He's a backup now. I forget what team he's the backup for. I'm so sorry. But, I mean, put your Giants quarterbacks in here. It's just Drew Lock, though. Drew Lock, legacy game this past week against the Colts, because, of course, it's against the Colts. The Colts suck. But, I mean, yeah. Giants, I'm sorry. Whoever they draft, because it'll probably be Shador or Cam Ward, has Malik Neighbors. That Giants team, if they get a good quarterback, could make some noise. I don't think they're going to go to the playoffs next year, but I think they could make some interesting noise next year if they get a good quarterback. If they don't, we'll see it at the top of the draft again the year after. Next up, we're going to also do my two Colts quarterbacks next. Joe Flacco. I'm going to put Joe Flacco in bad. Joe Flacco has not been ass. I mean, it's Joe Flacco. He's a backup quarterback for a reason. He's serviceable as a backup. I mean, 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's been, in the spots we need him, he's fine. He's fine. But Anthony Richardson over here is an ass. Colts fans, I'm sorry. I've been a Colts fan my whole life. I know I'm wearing a Bills jersey. That's the one I had. Don't question me. I'm a Colts fan, okay? But I have to be realistic. I'm not seeing it from Anthony Richardson. I'm just not. People want to say, he hasn't had a full season yet. He hasn't gotten a lot of reps. Needs more reps. Okay, I get that. And, he has a cannon. He has that athleticism. It's like, okay, I get all of that. I really do. Here's the problem I have with Richardson. Richardson has shown flashes of being good. Yes, he has. The problem is the amount of flashes he's shown of being a bust has not decreased. Like he's not moving more towards mid. He's like staying in that bad range. Like 8 touchdowns, 12 interceptions passing this year. 6 rushing touchdowns. So even then that's 14 and 12 overall. He's only 1,800 passing yards. His completion percentage this year is 47.7%. And Anthony Richardson genuinely has the worst passer rating in the league. Behind all of these guys. Behind Levis, Rudolph, DeVito, Jones, O'Connell, and Minshew. He's worse than all these guys. Anthony Richardson, I don't see it. I'm sorry. I don't. Maybe I'll be proven wrong next year. I don't know. But the Colts have the pieces to be a playoff team. I think we need maybe a little bit more help on defense, but we have the pieces to be a playoff team. We're not going to get there with Richardson. It's just not in the cards. Jonathan Taylor cannot rush us to the playoffs, I don't think. He's not Saquon, first of all, and Saquon has a great quarterback. Time to move on, guys. Find a new young quarterback, in my opinion. Next up, Patty Mahomes. I can sit here and tell you 2 things. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Best player in the league. There is no question about that. Second thing I can tell you in the same breath. Patrick Mahomes has not had an MVP caliber year. Patrick Mahomes, here's what we're going to do. Here's the tiers, okay? Patrick Mahomes and a clutch when it matters the most tier, okay? Now, people may hate me for this too. I've got a lot of people that are calling me a Chiefs fan because of how much I talk about Patrick Mahomes and how great he is. You can't deny Patrick Mahomes' greatness. He has not had an MVP caliber year. I don't have him in my top 5, even maybe top 6 or 7 in MVP. I don't. But if you were to use most valuable player on the Chiefs, absolutely it's Patrick Mahomes, and that's not even close. But Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are not worried about the awards. They're not. The Chiefs are worried more about winning a Super Bowl, and they are equipped to do so. And after this next week of games, I'm going to give you my playoff predictions in another video as well, and I'll talk about where I think the Chiefs will end up by the end of the year. That's going to be a banger. Stay tuned for that. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, clutch when it matters the most. Top 2 quarterback in the league, obviously, has not played and doesn't have the stats like a top 2 quarterback this year. But when it matters the most, his team is 15-1, and Mahomes knows how to lead his team to a victory. That's what he's there for. That's what he's great at. Next up, we have big boy Jared Goff. Jared Goff has been good. Jared Goff has been good. I love the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff and Sam Darnold kind of interchangeable. We'll see what these guys do in Week 18, Sunday Night Football, for the number 1 seed. Loser goes to number 5 seed. This is going to be a banger game. My worry with Jared Goff going into the playoffs is, can he lead the team to overcome the injuries on that defense? That's what worries me the most right now. But Jared Goff, the way he has played this year, has been absolutely excellent. He's got a great team around him. He's just about to hit 4,100 yards, 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and that's before tonight's game. Obviously, if you see this tomorrow, it'll be after the game, but I'm recording this before Monday Night Football, so there's still stats that he doesn't have yet. But Jared Goff, top 10 quarterback this year, absolutely for sure. Would love to have him. Jared Goff is absolutely awesome. Next up, we got Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence is such a tricky one. Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to grade on a bit of a curve because he was injured with a concussion most of the year. I'm going to put Trevor Lawrence up here in mid. He was mid when he played this year. He's right around this mid, can see the potential trending in the right direction kind of thing. Didn't have a full year, obviously. Injuries hurt him this year. So I'm going to put him in mid. I'm excited to see what they do next year with him. Might be going to a new coach, but we will see. The most likely MVP of the season, Josh Allen, up here, top of the tiers. I mean, what can you not say about Josh Allen? Josh Allen arguably has been the best quarterback in the league this year. Obviously, I'm repping a Josh Allen jersey. Now, statistically, is he the best quarterback in the league this year? No, he's not. And people are probably going to flack me for that, but objectively and statistically, he's not the best quarterback in the league. 40 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,700 passing yards, and he's got, I believe, 531 rushing yards. Awesome stats. Lamar's better statistically, but the things that Josh Allen has done, played with a broken hand all year, lost some weapons on offense, still having an MVP year. Where do they go in the playoffs? I don't know. Again, that will come in my playoff predictions video next week, so stay tuned for that. But Josh Allen, MVP season, absolutely for sure. Does he win it this year? Most likely yes, but we can make arguments about MVP later on. Next up, this one sucks. I hate this one. Kirk Cousins, man, I feel bad because Kirk Cousins was so great on the Vikings last year. He really was. But this year, it hasn't been his year. I'm going to put Kirk Cousins in mid. Here's why. Kirk Cousins had one absolutely phenomenal game this year. It was, what week was it? It was against Tampa Bay, 500 passing yards. He's had a 4-1 touchdown game, a 4-0 touchdown game, and a 3-0 touchdown game. Like, I can't put him in bad. Yes, he's got 18 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, 3,500 yards. That's the definition of a mid quarterback. Sucks to say, but Kirk Cousins is mid. Been sad to watch his downfall this year. Yeah, Kirk Cousins in mid. Got traded mid-season, so I'm going to double back on this, but Desmond Ridder also on the Raiders, so he gets to fall in the Raiders tier at the bottom. Yeah, Desmond Ridder down there. Kirk Cousins mid. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a really, really hard one to rate for me. Earlier in the year, I had Caleb Williams in B tier. He's definitely not up here. However, I am going to put Caleb Williams, I might get hate for this, Caleb Williams is going to be trending in the right direction. Because Caleb Williams has gotten better as the year has gone on. He's got 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and he threw an interception against Seattle. That was the first time in like 10 weeks they threw an interception. Now, yes, Caleb Williams is not the super flashy Caleb Williams that we saw at USC. He's not making electrifying plays. However, Baird's organization is just like a vortex. It just sucks the life out of everybody that goes there. I feel bad for Caleb. I really do. He's trending in the right direction. I think he's right along there with Bo Nix. Bo Nix, I think, has had a slightly better year, but these guys both, yes, you could put them in conceded potential, but they've had too good a years to put them all the way down here. I'm going to put them right here around trending in the right direction. Caleb Williams, excited for his future. The Bears need to overhaul a little bit, though, to fully tap into his potential. Next up, we got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to go in the good tier right here with Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert. People, I think, have been so focused on Saquon this year, they've forgotten that Jalen Hurts is having a solid year. Just shy of 3,000 passing yards, which will probably pass this week. He's got 18 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 12 rushing touchdowns. Jalen, I had Saquon on my fantasy team. I would have liked him to get more of those touchdowns from the 1 yard line, but I get it, tush push, whatever. Jalen Hurts has had a good year, not MVP, obviously. Saquon would go MVP above Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts had a good year. Nothing bad to say about that. Love Jalen Hurts. Another quarterback who I think falls into the definition of mid is Kyler Murray. Not much to say here. Kyler Murray, very mid-season, middle of the road. I mean, he's got Marvin Harrison. He's got Trey McBride, so I mean, I think he's trending in the right direction, but as of this year, he's just mid. Kyler Murray's definition of I don't have much to say, he's just mid. I'm going to go same thing for Tua, a mid. There's this middle of the road, solid quarterbacks. Nothing great, nothing terrible about any of these guys. Shout out to Tua solely because I have Devon Achane on my team, and he was an points merchant this year. Devon Achane is like the key player in that offense aside from Tua. Tua's problem is the same with, a problem I have with the Dolphins. They're great against bad teams and terrible against good teams. Is that more of a referendum on Tua or Mike McDaniel? I don't know. Tua's been plagued with injuries, so I don't think he'll ever quite get back to his prime. I think that's past, sadly, due to injuries, but Tua was mid this year. That's all I got to say. Big Russ, Russell Wilson. Now, I put Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both in C tier on my tier list earlier this year. I'm going to put Russell Wilson kind of towards the top of mid, and I'm going to Fields towards like the bottom of mid, almost in like the conceded potential kind of tier. I'm actually going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. Wilson, mid. Fields, conceded potential. Russell Wilson, much better year than I thought he was going to have. He's done pretty well with the Steelers this year. And Justin Fields, obviously Russ was the starter, but the few weeks that Justin Fields played, he looked really, really good. There are definitely teams I would love to have and start Justin Fields. I think he will get a starting job again at some point. And then Russell Wilson, he's getting older, but hey, 10-win Steelers, baby. Never a losing season, and Russell Wilson having fun on the Steelers. Some good flashes from him this year. It's nice to see Russell Wilson getting back up there. A lot of people, I'm included, said that I think he was washed. He definitely was when he played on the Broncos, just because they didn't have the coaching for him. But yeah, Russell Wilson, good to see him doing well. Excited for that. Derek Carr, injuries took him out this year, but he was bad at that point. Not much else to say about Derek Carr. First 2 weeks of the year, though, those Saints, man. First 2 weeks of the year, Saints were something special. A sight to behold. Loved watching that team. End of the day, he was bad. Moving on to Dak. Again, another injuries kind of year. Injuries really plagued him. When he played, he was mid. He just a mid-year. I had him in A tier last year, simply just, stat-wise, he was really, really good for a long time, but this year it was just mid. Deshaun Watson, man, injuries this year, man, just took it out of everybody, and it was really sad. But even then, Deshaun Watson, even when we did play, more just bad. Deshaun wasn't great. I will say, though, the other Browns quarterback that was on here, man, mid is the definition of this man's career, but boy, is it fun. Jameis Winston is the definition of 1 week he'll be bad, and the next week he might as well be in the MVP conversation. Boy, Jameis Winston is fun to watch. I love Jameis. Interviews are fun with this guy. His pep talks to the team were fun. He, and I think it was Browns in Denver, had that banger a couple weeks ago. Jameis Winston played great. Obviously, he had like 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions or something like that. What was it? Yeah, 4 touchdowns. Wow, I guessed that perfectly. Yeah, 500 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Definition of a Jameis game. Super fun to watch, but 3 bad interceptions. It was mid. That's all it is. And now I think it's DTR playing for them. So yeah, not much there. Zach Wilson. We're gonna bring back an oldie but a goodie, and I'm just gonna leave this here. You guys can interpret what you want from that. Jaden Daniels. This is my guy right here. Jaden Daniels. I'm going to say something, and you guys may think I'm crazy, or you may think I know ball. Who knows? Jaden Daniels is up here. If he's not going to get Rookie of the Year, he would be in the MVP conversation. I mean, this kid is awesome. I heard a stat today. No one has a better passer rating in overtime than Jaden Daniels, which is absolutely unbelievable to me, especially in this league. How many good quarterbacks there are. Jaden Daniels with an amazing passer rating in overtime. It's awesome. He does great playing from behind. There's an argument that he could be MVP regardless. Rookie of the Year for sure. And Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. Love him. He's awesome. It puts him a tier above Mahomes. We're actually going to switch that right there. Rookie of the Year. There you go. Baker. Bake Show. Baker's so much fun. I love Baker Mayfield. I mean, He's going to hit 40 touchdowns this year. Next game, actually, he's at 39 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, 42 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Baker's been good. Baker's been really good this year. And honestly, there's a case to be made for Baker being up in here in MVP. But I'm going to put Baker down here in good. Love Baker Mayfield. He's going to take the Bucs back to the playoffs again. Hopefully, if they win this week. I think they're playing the Panthers, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. Seahawks quarterbacks. I mean, Geno's been mid. That's what else can you say? Geno's been mid. A couple flashes of where he's been good. Passing yards wise, he'd be up here in good, but touchdown interception ratio, he's had some bad interceptions that have cost his team the game. But yeah, Geno Smith, mid, I would say. CJ Stroud, our second addition to the sophomore slump tier, sadly. You got to feel for CJ, man. I love CJ Stroud. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. One of the best just guys in the league. Super nice guy, super humble, good Christian guy. I love CJ. But it's just sophomore slump year. He hasn't had both of his top wide receivers all year. Nico Collins was injured part of the year, and man, Tank Dell's knee injury looks really, really bad. Who knows if he's going to play football again. Prayers up for Tank Dell, man. Hopefully he gets better, but yeah, CJ in that sophomore slump tier this year. Lamar Jackson, I mean, what else can you say? Second, if not first, in MVP. I mean, you can put either of these guys wherever you want to. Lamar Jackson, absolutely amazing year. Do I think he's going to win it this year? No, and that's simply because there just isn't precedent for it. Back-to-back MVPs is rare. Winning a third MVP before you even won a Super Bowl is also very rare. Quarterbacks just don't do that. But stat-wise, Lamar, I would say, definitely deserves it more than Josh Allen. 43 touchdowns total for Lamar, 39 passing, 4 rushing, and only 4 interceptions this year. Lamar has been awesome. Can he do anything in the playoffs, though? It's going to be the big story this year. Obviously, he played terribly against the Chiefs in the playoffs last year, so we saw how that turned out. Lamar Jackson, MVP season for sure. Same with, I'm going to go to my other MVP guy, Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow got the best 1-2 punch wide receiver combo in the league, arguably. He's just shy of 4,700 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, with 2 rushing touchdowns as well. I mean, that's 44 touchdowns for Joe Burrow. What a year for him. I think if the Bengals weren't on the cusp of missing the playoffs, he would be higher. But yeah, Joe Burrow, man. Love me some good old Joe Shiesty. Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, guys. Aaron Rodgers has been bad this year. I mean, for the talent that Aaron Rodgers has, his stats are going to look inflated because he's played better these last few weeks. That's absolutely certain. But he's just, you know what? I will give Aaron Rodgers mid. I'm going to rethink this a little bit. I had him in B tier. He's definitely not that this year. Bottom of mid, I'd say. He's just old. There needs to be better coaching over there. Tough year for the Jets. Way too many people bought into the Jets too quickly. 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers is not the solution long term. If they had a young quarterback, I think they might have been able to do a little bit better because the talent on that team is just insane. Devontae Adams definitely helped Rodgers inflate his stats a bit at the end of the year. Aaron Rodgers was mid. Not much else to say there. Michael Penix. I'm going to put him down here and can see the potential. He's starting now over Kirk Cousins. And you can definitely see he's going to be a good quarterback in the league. Maybe not a great quarterback. You can see the potential. He's heading up there. Matt Stafford, he's been good. People like to, say Matt Stafford isn't all of that. And he's getting older. He's getting up there. But, I mean, he's been good. When he has Kupp, when he has Puka, he's been good. That team can outscore you. This is going to be a dangerous team, the Rams, to play in the playoffs. I'd say if there's 2 teams I would not want to face in the playoffs first round, one is the Rams, and the second, if they get there, would be the Bengals. If I'm the Bills right now, because I've basically got the 2 seed locked up. If I'm the Bills right now, I am the biggest Bo Nix and the Broncos fan against the Chiefs this week, because if they lose and the Bengals win, I mean, I am not looking forward to a shootout with Joe Burrow at Bills Stadium. That would be a hell of a game, probably be the best game of the playoffs, but obviously we will see what happens when we get there. Bryce Young. Hey, you know what? Bryce Young gets mid. Bryce Young gets conceded potential. I'm not quite going to give him mid. He got benched at the start of the year. But hey, Bryce Young, I think he's starting to turn things around a little bit. You can see the potential in Bryce Young. Super excited about that. I was a little harsh on Bryce Young. I think I had Bryce Young in like C tier. if I was going to put him anywhere at the start. Yeah, there he is. Bryce Young, C tier. But yeah, you can see the potential. Bryce Young starting to turn things around. Super excited for Bryce. And then the rest of these guys, JJ didn't play. Garoppolo didn't play. Trubisky played in garbage time because Josh Allen was just that good. Sam Howell and Kenny Pickett. You can leave all these guys down here. But yeah, this is the tier list. Let's go back over it. The top 3 quarterbacks in the league this season, undisputed: Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. The next 2 closest, Mahomes, obviously. Nobody's better on 3rd down, 4th down, from behind, in the clutch when it matters most, needs a game-winning drive. It's Mahomes. Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. Baker, Sam, Jared Goff, these guys right here, absolutely amazing. Special years for Darnold and Baker. Sophomore slump. Hopefully these guys turn around next year. Jordan and CJ. Bo Nix and Caleb heading that way. All the middle-of-the-road quarterbacks trending, looking good. These guys looking really good. Just badass. Then you got the Raiders, and of course our king, Milf Hunter, Zach Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where the quarterbacks, in my opinion, ended up on the tier list this year. Not horrible. I don't think I did horrible this year in terms of like my predictions. Stroud, Love, and Dak kind of killed me a little bit in terms of the top quarterbacks in the league, but I'm happy with this. I think I did okay. I'm excited to see, who wins MVP, what the playoffs are going to look like next week. Stay tuned for playoff predictions. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm excited for next year for a lot of these quarterbacks in the middle, because I think a lot of them are going to do a lot better next year. Guys, thanks so much for watching. NFL is almost done. Sadly, it's been an awesome year, but it's gone by too quickly, as it always does. I'll see you next week for my playoff predictions. Have a great night. Peace!